I'm live. Hey, good morning, everybody. Looking nice today, huh? We're going to do 10 minutes on the OSI model. Let me see if I can share my screen. I'm going to try to share this tab window. Share this window with you guys. Share. Look at that. Whoa, that's fun. Oh, wait, I picked the wrong window. Option, let's try again. Let's share this window with you guys. There we go. Cool, right? Okay, I'm Patrick Vick. This is Simon's TechWise. And I apologize for the static nature of this video, but I'm only really doing this to learn for myself. The good stuff should follow. The sponsor of today's video is Starbucks Vanilla Frappuccino. This is how you do it. Good morning. Get your morning started with Starbucks. Damn. Now back to my story. Damn. Back to my story. 10-minute lesson on the Open Systems Interconnection OSI model. The OSI model is a conceptual framework that divides network communication functions into 7 layers. It's used to describe how data is communicated over a network. It provides a common language for network engineers and administrators to troubleshoot problems. There are 7 layers to this model. We're starting from the bottom to top. I prefer the bottom to the top. So, physical layer, number 1. This is the lowest layer of the OSI model. It is responsible for the physical transmission of data over the network. Things like cables, connectors, hardware that are used to connect devices to a network is what's at the physical layer. Data link layer. This layer is responsible for error detection and correction, as well as flow control. Flow control ensures that data is not sent too quickly for the receiving device to process. The networking layer. This layer is responsible for routing data packets from the source device to the destination device. It also assigns IP addresses to devices on the network. So that's where your DNS server lives, on the network layer. The transport layer. This layer is responsible for ensuring that data is divided reliably from the source device to the destination device. It also provides features such as congestion control and flow control. Yeah, if you don't completely understand what those mean, don't worry, because you'll learn in a moment. The next lesson will cover that. Session layer, the 5th layer. This layer is responsible for establishing, managing, and terminating sessions between devices on a network. A session is a period of time during which 2 devices are communicating with each other. Presentation layer is layer 6. This layer is responsible for formatting data so that it can be understood by the receiving device. It also provides features such as encryption and decryption. Cryptography is handled here, right before it's handed off to the application layer, if you go in that direction, because these are 2-way streets. This layer is the highest layer of the OSI model. It's responsible for providing network services to applications. This includes things like email, web browsing, and file sharing. So if you're a user, you're interacting at the application layer, And then when that, it moves through all these layers before it hits the physical layer and then goes out on a pack, out to the internet and in the real world and then comes back. Let's not lose track of where we were. I have an acronym we'll learn after this about these 7 layers so that we can remember where each one. First one's physical, data link, network, transport, session, and presentation and application. We're going to have an anagram that we're going to go backwards on it. So we're going to start at the top with the anagram. We'll talk about it in a minute. Before we do that, the OSI model is a valuable tool for understanding how networks work. It can be used to troubleshoot problems, design new networks, and teach network concepts. Here are some examples of how the OSI model is used in the real world. A network administrator is troubleshooting a problem with the network connection. They use OSI models to identify the layer at which the problem is occurring. And that way they can then troubleshoot based on what's going on at that layer of the OSI model. A network engineer is designing a new network. They use the OSI model to ensure that all necessary components are included in the design. So they've covered their bases and they've considered all aspects of the connectivity through this model. A teacher is teaching a class about networks. That's me. They use the OSI model to explain the different functions of a network. This is exactly right. The OSI model is a complex topic, but it's an essential one for anyone who wants to understand how networks work. We use it to talk about networks and networking when we're dealing with networks on a regular basis or in academia, right? So unless you're, talking about computers every day, you might forget this model. Let's start at the top. Let's find a OSI model, layers. Let's do this. Let's look at this one. I like this one. There we go. Oh, this is kind of fun. Look at what he came up with. Okay. I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to block this because it's bugging me. Let's see, how do we do this? I've got a blocker plugged in, so I'm going to say grab this element and just block this element, please. Block. And I'm going to do it to the next ones. I'm going to do it to this one too. I'm going to go up to APB, block this element, and I'm going to say this whole element right there. Okay, and it's gone. Okay, 7 layers of the OSI model. I'm going to reduce the size so we can get this on the screen. There it is. Now, so I have a copy of this. I'm going to hit print screen, which is going to bring up the snip feature, and I'm going to grab it from here. And that can be something I show in some presentation, except that sometimes it doesn't come out very good for colors and lighting. But whatever. 7 layers of the OSI model. So we've talked about the application layer, which is the end user layer. We've got presentation layer, which is the syntax layer. At the application layer, this is where things like your DNS query is going to be living. Your SSH sessions are going to start and end. Your chat sessions are going to be here. Your file transfer sessions are going to be here. Your internet pages are all going to be here. This is where HTTP lives, But before you get here, this is where it starts to abstract. This would be the presentation layer. This is where encryption and things are. This is the syntax layer. This is where we figure out how things talk to each other and get mapped out for file transfer and for compression of video or video. Everything's here. This is emails, post offices, secure hash connections, socket layer connections that are secure. Session layer, sync and send to port, and API, sockets, WinSock is all here. The sessions are here. Transport layer is where TCP IP lives, and UDP, TCP or UDP live here. These are the end-to-end connections between all the computers on the network. The network then has the packets that move around based on IP based on the IP numbers. And all of your IP tools are there, or traffic or handling is there. The data link network has the frames of data, and they're at the Ethernet level or the switch level, that sort of thing. And then they're out to the physical layer, and this is the physical structure of the hubs and repeaters. Before we get to, well, we're already at 10 minutes, but before we go too long, let's get us an acronym to remember these, okay? Application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, physical. You know what it should be? I was going to make all these myself, and I thought, why bother? Because look at that. I mean, come on, you guys. Why waste your time making a video of the acronyms or whatever when it's all right here? Okay, let's see. Oh, no, forget that. Okay, let me see. All people seem to need. There it is. The OSI letters, mnemonic. All people seem to need data processing. That's not what I want. The OSI layers mnemonic. All people seem to need data processing. All for application. People for presentation. Seam for session. 2 for transport. Need for network. Data for data link. Processing for physical. So, how do you remember the OSI model? Well, all people seem to need data processing. What was that? All people seem to need data processing. A, application. P, presentation. T, transport. N, network. D, data link. P, physical. And those are the layers of the OSI model. 10 minutes. Do we all get it? Do we have it now? This is going to be a good day, you guys. I use this session here to learn a 10-minute lesson on this. And this, what we just started with, the curriculum we went over. Well, where is it? The OSI model? No, it's back here. Yeah. 10-minute cool lesson on the OSI model. I was trying to look up somebody else's 10-minute lesson, like we looked at the images, because I thought, why do it from scratch? Somebody else has done all the heavy lifting, and I've already learned it. I passed this in the Networking Plus class, so I've been tested on this and passed it, right? Currently certified on the OSI model. So I don't want to, I don't want to go from scratch. And if I don't remember it right now, I don't need to go over this thing again, So, but I did need to teach it for 10 minutes, and I needed to sound authentic. So what I did is I was asking Google to show me a 10-minute lesson on it, and instead it gave me a 10-minute lesson, the generative AI. Underneath this generative AI, which is what you and I just went over, is all the normal links to the videos I would have expected, and somebody else doing what we just did. And then there's only millions of these out there, right? And then all the networking world. Look, they're just talking about the acronym that we just did, the OSI model. Well, we're not the first to talk about the OSI model and try to teach it. To discuss anything about networking, this is the language you have to learn and use, and you're going to need it when you do anything. And if you get a good job dealing with this every day, this is great. This is your foundation, So anyway, thank you for joining today. We'll see you soon.